Hey, Shalom. This is I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York City, under command of GEN.YAHANNA. All right, this is the Fort Wayne live classes. Today, we can really be going over why you should not be the next black man, next black woman, Hispanic man or woman to be gunned down by another cop. All right, so recently, Jacob Blake was gunned down, paralyzed, with 7 shots to the back in front of his children. All right, this is another incident, an unarmed black man gunned down in the streets of America. We all back to the same place we was 3 months ago when George Floyd was murdered in the streets of America. All right, we back in the same place 3 months later. We thought we was making it somewhere with the Black Lives Matter t-shirts and the Black Lives Matter movement, but really it's all a hoax and a goddamn joke. Really, we made it nowhere. Really, we in the same spot that we've been at since Martin Luther King era. We ain't made it nowhere. All right, Jacob Blake, grandfather, was a black activist. He marched with Martin Luther King. He was a part of the black activist movement and the whole black civil rights movement during them times on Martin Luther King. His grandfather, for his grandfather to be that type of man, to be an activist and turn around 50 some odd years later, and for his grandson to be gunned down in the streets in front of his children, it's all a joke, man. It's all a hoax. We really making it nowhere in this place. By going with the flow of Christianity, going with the flow of the world, going with the flow of every movement that just pops up before our eyes. And really, what we need to do is turn around and face this Bible and learn the truth about God. All right, that's what we really need to do. Let's start at Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5. All right, Ezekiel, the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35 and verse 5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has haste shed the blood of the children of Israel. The so-called white man, the police officers in America, the cops in America, has always had a perpetual hatred for blacks and Hispanics. This man hates us with a passion, man. When they say perpetual hatred, it's talking about, a hatred for no goddamn reason. A hatred that would never end. We can never stop. We can't go to America and beg America to save us. We can't go and beg the cops of America to stop killing us. They still goddamn murdering us years and years and years later, black man. Like, really, we got to come up out this place. All right, we got to come up out of this place, out of this Christianity, out of this world, and really separate ourselves. We don't need the police force to police our neighborhoods anymore. They over patrolling our neighborhoods in the first place. The black man we got to get off of drugs. We got to get off of drugs. We got to stop having sex with the prostitutes. We got to stop murdering one of another. And we really got to stand up and become strong in this place so we can really police our own neighborhoods. Because the so-called white man in America does not have the ability to control blacks and Hispanics. He does not have the ability to police blacks and Hispanics. It's going to take for the black man to really raise up out of this place and save his people. All right. We're at Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5. I'm going to read this again because we always come to the same standstill question, wondering why. Why every goddamn couple months, another black man got to get gunned down. Every single year, a black man got to get gunned down. They got the cases. The COVID-19 is going on right now. Every day, we got people waking up on the news, watching the corona cases go, wondering if they're going to go down, if they're going up. They checking the statistics and trying to enforce the whole world to stay safe from the coronavirus. But really, black men being killed at a higher rate than the goddamn coronavirus. We black men getting killed by police at a higher rate than the COVID-19. We need to really be checking the statistics on how many black men are dying day by day by cops and police brutality instead of worrying about the goddamn COVID-19. That's what's on the news. That's what America is worried about. But really, the black and Hispanic man need to be worried about how to prosper in this place. All right. So let's read Ezekiel 35 and verse 5 again. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and has haste shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Now, the sword in today's time is that gun. All right. In today's time, that sword is that Glock on the police officer's hip. That's by force, man. Our blood is being shed in this place by force of the sword. All because this man has a perpetual hatred for us. Like, it's no coming together with the so-called white man in America. There's no coming together with the cops in America. There's no coming together with Trump in America. It's no goddamn way possible that we can ever come together with these people. We being murdered at an extremely high rate by police. All right. We really got to come about this place, separate ourselves from America. And I'm gonna go. And what we gonna do? We're gonna go to Genesis. We're gonna start from the beginning. I'm gonna give every Black and Hispanic man watching this class a brief history about how this all started and where it all come from. All right. Because we all want to know, as a whole, as a people as a whole, why did this keep happening? And our leaders and our pastors don't have the answer. They never had the answer. Our pastors still to this day don't have the answer. We get gunned down every time they get put on the news. They put the mother and the father up there, the sisters and the cousins, and they go speak on the behalf of their beloved family member that was gunned down by the police, and the pastor sitting in the background the whole time. Every single time a tragic event happens where a Black man is getting gunned down by a police officer, the pastor's always in the back. But he has no solution for the problem. Because if the pastor said a solution, this would have been stopped. You would think after George Floyd and all the rioting that was going on, all the burning down of the buildings, is still happening. That's because your only answer is this Bible, Black man. All right. So let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis chapter 25. Let's read where it all starts from. Let's read what this man that has a perpetual hatred for us. Let's see where it all stems from. Okay, let's see what God thinks about this. All you have to do is find a priest and prophet at I.S.U.P.K. Let them break down this Bible to you, and you'll understand this world. All right, Black man. So let's go to Genesis 25, and let's start at verse 22. All right. Now, this Genesis, it's talking about the generations of Isaac, okay, the son of Abraham. And this is going to break down, and it's going to talk about Rebecca. And Rebecca's pregnancy and how she had birth. She gave birth to these two twins of these two different nations. Okay, just a little backdrop about the Black and Hispanic man, and the so-called white man whose biblical name is Esau. Genesis 25 and verse 22. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, "Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels." Now, this is God telling her, it's two nations in your womb, two manner of people. Okay, two nations of people. These are two separate different people. You got one nation over here, you got another nation over here. Now, let's get further in detail about who these two nations are. All right, let's in the middle of 23. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, God told Rebecca, one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right. Now, let's get into the pregnancy, the whole birth. Let's go to verse 24. And when her days were to be delivered, were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. Now, you the Black and Hispanic man watching the class, I want y'all to understand and really think, what group of people on the earth come out born red and hairy all over? All right. What people on the face of the earth are red? What people on the face of the earth are burnt by the sun? And they skin turn almost a pinkish color, red, and hairy all over, just like a garment. All right, let's keep reading. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel. Now, notice, in this verse, it did not explain the characteristics or the color of the second child, because the color of the second child was just like the rest of the people on the face of the earth. Every other people on the face of the earth are brown tan people. But this one particular child, the first one that came out, was red and hairy all over as a garment. This first child is who we know is the white man. It's who we know is the Caucasian man. This man was the man that was in that womb where it was in Rebecca's womb with the black man. And these are the two nations that were separated by birth, by God. Okay? So if God separated us from birth, two different nations, how could we turn around 2,000 years later and want to join together with these same people? It's no wonder why these people are murdering us every day in the streets. It's no wonder why the police force is always committing horrific acts and crimes against the black man. It's no wonder why these things are happening if God separated us from birth, man. We read in verse 22, the children struggled in her womb. The children were fighting in the womb. We read that he had a perpetual hatred against the so-called black and Hispanic and Native Indian man. This is nothing new. This is a precursor to what's going on today's time. God separated us from the so-called Caucasian man. Okay? It's no coming together with this man. This is why we getting killed by this man, because God separated us from him. All right? We can't reverse something that God put in place. If the Most High God put this in place, we can't turn around and, worship Martin Luther King and say Martin Luther King had a dream that it was this way. To hell with Martin Luther King dream if God said it was this way. If God said these two nations were too separate from the bowels, there's no joining together with the so-called white man. There's no joining together with the police force. It's no way of voting and coming together with this man. That's the end of it. That's the end of the discussion. How much longer we gonna sit? We gonna sit and be blind to the fact that we every month, every day, every year, we're gonna continue to get killed by the so-called cops. Your mission is not to be killed by the cops. I mean, what is it gonna take for you to learn your lesson? How many times do I gotta see another black man gunned down? I mean, like every single day, it's a new incident. A black man being harassed by the police, a black man being beat by the cops, a black man being murdered by the cops. Like it should be some type of law set in place by now. But if a police even intentionally harms a black man, unarmed black man, that he should get some type of, some long big sentence, the whole book thrown at him in court. But that's not the case in fact. All right. That's just not it. Because we can't come together with these people, and these people don't want to come together with us. We have to separate. All right. So let's jump to Lamentations. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 4. Let's go ahead and jump to Lamentations chapter 4. All right. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 6. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go to Lamentations 4 and 18. Let's start there. Or 17, slacking. Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 17. As for us, our eyes have yet failed for our vain help, and we have watched for a nation that cannot save us. We, as black people as a whole, including Hispanics and Native Indians, we've been praying to a God that cannot save us. We've been watching and voting for people that cannot save us. How much voting do I gotta goddamn do? I mean, every 4 years you turn around, like black people been voting for years. I mean, our grandmas, how many times have our grandmas been in the voting booth? They grandchildren still getting gunned down by cops. That's what the Lord talking about when he say our eyes have failed us. I mean, we look and see the voting booth like it look like it makes sense. Like it look like that's what we should do. But really, our eyes have failed us. Really, that American flag cannot save us. All right. That red, white, and blue cannot save us. That red, white, and blue is equivalent to death. That's what it means when our eyes have failed us. And when it say we have watched for a nation that cannot save us, meaning America has never been there to save blacks and Hispanics. Never. There's never been an institution on this earth under America's authority that has saved black and Hispanics. Nowhere. At no time. You understand? Because if it was anybody that if we were so-called joined together with America and America could save us, the cop killings would have stopped a long time ago. Police brutality would have stopped a long time ago. But these things continue to happen. I mean, just this week, Jacob Blake was just gunned down by a cop. I mean, paralyzed, shot down in front of his children. And I mean, I saw all the people on TV, Charles Barkley and the inside of the NBA talking about the children were there and what if the bullet would have ricocheted and hit the children, as if the cop would have really cared if the bullet would have hit the child. You know what I'm saying? It's already bad enough that the bullet gunned down the father. I mean, this man he's a murderer. He's a murderer. He's been a murderer from the beginning. This nation cannot save us. That cop does not care if the child dies or the father died. They shot him for 7 times, for God's sake. 7 times in the back. You understand? Now the man is paralyzed from the waist down for the rest of his life. All right. Let's keep reading. Verse 18. They hunt our steps that we cannot go in the streets, and our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. They hunt our steps in the streets. Every time, I mean, the story was that the brother Jacob Blake got out of his car to break up a domestic fight or whatnot. He was breaking up a fight. The cops were called. The cops arrived on the scene. The cops arrived on the scene thirsting for the blood of a black man. All right. When they say they hunt our steps in the streets that we can't go, when the cops are called, the cops coming to kill. And everybody knows that. That's why that's why they run from the cops. They hunt our steps in the streets that we cannot go. This not something that just started. The story of, you ever heard of the slave catchers? Those are the same people that the cops are. These are the same men. They got the same agenda. They have the same lust. I mean, for shedding your blood is just like a thirst. It's like a beast. You understand? Like, you just watch any animal in the wild. You just watch an animal and watch how he devours and want to bloodthirst and kill and gobble up everything. That's the so-called white man. That's Esau. That's the police. They called and arrived on that scene thirsting for Jacob Blake's blood. Thirsting for the children's blood. You think the cops give a damn about if the children would have died? You think the cops give a damn about the children would have tried to step in front of the cops and stop their father from getting shot? The cops would have probably shot the children too. You understand? Because that's just how wicked of a beast that this man is. All right. We being hunted down in these streets. We being slaughtered around in these streets. And it's really take for the black man to really change and step up out of this place and come up and rise up and police our own neighborhoods. All right. Jacob Blake's grandfather was a civil rights activist leader. And for turn around and his grandchildren to be slaughtered down in the streets like dogs, tells you that civil rights movement failed. All right. It failed the agenda of saving black men. It may not have failed the agenda of getting rich as a black man, but it most certainly failed the agenda of saving black men from being gunned down in the streets. All right. We the I.S.U.P.K. classes on Fort Wayne every 6 to 8, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. live on YouTube and Facebook. You can search up I.S.U.P.K. Fort Wayne on YouTube, and you can search up Fort Wayne I.S.U.P.K. on Facebook. Until then, shalom.